friends, it's Sheri here, and today I'll be giving you some tips, tricks, and just general info on how a fan sign is run so you can survive your first fan sign. Why is this like an infomercial? I don't know. But so disclaimer, I've only ever been to fan signs in Korea. I can't really talk about fan signs that are held like in the US and Europe and other parts of Asia. I only know about the Korean ones, and on top of that, every fan sign is sort of run a little bit differently depending by who the event organizers are. So like K-Town for You will have a different fan sign from Shinara and all that. So just know some things might be slightly different from how I described it. But generally there are some things that are similar or the same. So first off, I've only been to fan signs for the Rose and Sheet, but the process, you buy the albums and you get, when you get picked, they'll send you an email or text to the phone number you put in. You have to put down your name when you're applying. It has to be your government name. So most places will ask you to bring in a passport. The name has to match your passport name. And you have to bring a physical, like your physical passport or whatever documentation they want. It has to be the real one. It cannot be a photocopy or anything like that. Most places are quite strict with it. So you bring your passport, you show them, you're like, this is me. And they might ask you to recite the last 4 digits of your phone number, your whole phone number, or they might ask you your email that you applied with. So just, have that information in your brain, hopefully. After that, they will give you an album. Most places do not need you to bring an album for like an actual fan sign event. Sometimes when they have a fan sign that's attached to a concert, you might need to bring something to be signed, but most of the time they will give you an album and you can only have that album signed. You cannot get anything else signed. So they will give you an album and then you reach into a box and you pull out either a piece of paper or it was a ping pong ball once, and on there will be a number. That is your number for when you go up onto the stage to get your album signed. And that is also the number you have to go find that is on the chair that you will be sitting the whole time. Now, the rules usually are that you cannot switch with anyone else. I've seen people do it, but most of the time they are really strict about it, and they will say in a big list of information they send you that if you break any of the rules at a fan sign, you could be banned from any other fan signs in the future. So just keep that in mind. I usually just follow the rules to like a very strict T. Now, alright, before you get to the fan sign, I would say prepare these types of post-its. I was going to say stickers, or not stickers. These type of post-its, as well as bigger post-its. Let me see. Bigger post-its like that. And it could be like any cute post-it or regular post-it, whatever you want. But these post-its, so you can write down the member's name where you want them to sign in your book. And it could just be because you like a specific picture, you want them to sign that picture. For the sheet fan sign, the albums are actually quite thin. So if you see here, like this sign, you can see as well Shun's and Yua's signature, they kind of like overlap a little bit just because the pages are thin. So it's better to space out the signatures. For the bigger post-it, that is for if you want to write them a question. And I've seen 2 different ways that fan signs will do this. So either you can write a question and it has to be multiple choice answers. So you can only write like what's your favorite color, and it has to be A blue, B black, C white, and something like that. Or you can leave it as blank and they can write down the answer themselves. I've seen it done both ways. So make sure if you read the rules beforehand, usually that will tell you what's okay and what's not. Also, you will need a post-it like on the front, and you just put your name or what you want them to sign to. Now, for the sign to name, that usually does not have to be your government name. You can have it signed to a friend's name. You can sign it to what your preferred name is. You just have to write it out. Staff will take it later, and they might rewrite it like more clearly and put it on the back so the members know, how to spell your name, so you're not just trying to like tell them and spell it out to them on stage. Now, usually for the fan sign, you get maybe like only 30 minutes. An hour to 30 minutes is the only time, is when they will let you in to the venue, usually. So you only have that little time to prepare all your post-its and your questions. I suggest writing out, if you have a question, writing it out on post-its ahead of time, so when you get to the venue, you just stick things in. That is easier. Also, if you stand a group that doesn't speak a lot of English, or you're worried about that, it is best to have the question translated into Korean ahead of time, and you just write it down in Korean. It just makes life easier for everyone involved. Now, because you don't really want to be like on there like trying to explain to them in the moment, because one, like, you're nervous, and then things get crazy when you could get nervous. So then you go to your assigned like little seat spot by your number. Usually there'll be like gaps in between, just so everyone has a place to put all their camera equipment. Now, if you are bringing an expensive camera, you can there is no limit for what type of camera you can bring. I think maybe it's just you can't bring like a Polaroid camera, but there's no limit. If you want to stand your camera, make sure you have one that is from floor to eye length when you're seated. So unless you're in the back, sometimes there's more lax about how high you can have your camera mounted, but usually it's to eye level, so you're not blocking anyone's view behind you. And you get that set up. There's also like no tables usually for these fan signs, so you have to have a floor to eye length mount. Now, as well, once you kind of just sit down, you get all your stuff set up, you're just kind of waiting, and the group will just sometimes just walk in when it's about time. They'll just walk in. There's no announcement, or for the groups I've seen, there's been no announcement. It's just like, hi, we're here, and they just walk in. They will go on stage and they'll say their insa, their greeting, like 안녕하세요, and then they just start talking for a little bit of time. They might ask stuff like, oh, who's been here before? How is everyone? Did everyone eat? Stuff like that. At this point, they will then go sit down, and some of the first few people will start lining up to get their thing signed. Now, this is kind of a good time when they're just sitting. If you want any specific interactions, you can try for now. So you will hear a lot of fan sites go like, oh, 여기요, like look here. Ah, 여기 heart 주세요. Like, please put a heart here. And the idols would do their best to do the poses and do the hearts as they're waiting to sign albums for people. It can get a little bit chaotic, especially if your Korean is not that good and you don't know what's going on, but just know they're just like shouting at them to like look over here, focus here, and do a specific pose for a cute photo and stuff like that. All right, so as well, it depends on the organizer, but you can bring props or gifts. So most places now, I think, don't actually take gifts. You can only bring props, so like headbands, stuffed animals, or any sort of, you see like a lot of weird creative props nowadays. You can bring anything for them to take a photo with and to have like on stage for photos while they're signing. But a lot of the times at the end of the fan sign, you have to go collect your item again, or else it does get thrown away by staff. And this should be clear in the rules that they send you, like you cannot give gifts. For some fan signs, you can give letters, but those letters would need to be handed to staff. This should be outlined out, so just make sure to read through the rules. But for a lot of fan signs now, I think you can't give direct gifts and you can't give direct fan letters. but you can give them props to take photos with, or like even sometimes outfits for them to wear when they're doing the end dance. So just keep that in mind. If you have anything, bring that up with you. You cannot bring a phone or anything that records when it's your turn to go up. Now, I know some people will record audio on their Apple Watch and stuff, but again, it's not technically allowed most of the time, and if you do get caught, there is a risk of getting banned from fan signs. So do with that what you will. They might even ask you, like, do you have your phone on you? You have to be like, no. Then staff will call you up to line up. Sometimes it's a whole row at a time. Sometimes it's like just your individual numbers. And like, don't worry if you don't understand Korean that well. They will try to get your attention to be like, go line up, go line up. And you bring your album. It's kind of the only thing you should be bringing if you don't have props, your album. And once you go to the staff, they will check through to make sure your questions are okay, and if there's any specific rules that you haven't broken them. And then like they will put your name, post it on the back, and you just wait to go up. So for each member, it kind of depends. Usually it's about a minute 30 seconds, sometimes 2 minutes, really depends on the venue and the organizer's rule, and you have that time to interact with them. There's 3 main types of fan signs. There's the seated fan sign, you move from chair to chair. There's just the standing one where you just walk along, and then there's the kneeling one, which I don't know if they still do, but I don't like it, but that's where you literally kneel down in front of each member. I don't know, but most times now it's just a seated one, so you get from seat to seat. In terms of contact with them, right? So I know during COVID it was a very strict no touch at all. Do not touch the idol at all, which is 100% fair, and it should have been that way. Nowadays, I think for basics, work with what the idol is comfortable with. And of course, excessive skinship is never allowed. So most of the times, a high five, they will probably high five you. They might initiate a high five. For some fan signs, I know girlies will ask to hold hands. Really depends on ask the idol, can we do this? Can we do this? If not, then don't try to argue for it. Work with what everyone is comfortable with and what everyone's boundary is. So, I always ask, can we high five? And usually yeah. For Doa of Sheed, he immediately as soon as he sees me, he's high five. So it's kind of for each idol's comfort level. So yeah, you talk for a little bit of time. They might ask you oh, is it your first time? Where are you from? Questions like that. If you have anything you want to ask them, prepare ahead of time and just keep repeating it to yourself, because you will be nervous, because these are very, very pretty people and you will be 100% nervous. I mean, unless you're super chill. I'm not. I was just sweating bullets and but have maybe 2 to 3 questions. You might forget your questions. You might not get to ask all of them. You might only get to ask one. You might completely talk about something else. It is all fine. Deep breath, enjoy the experience, and try not to be I have to do this, I have to say this. It's more of just enjoy, meeting someone. Meeting someone doesn't always go the way you expect it, right? So deep breaths before, and then just go with the flow a little bit, yeah, you move on through, and then you're back to your seat, kind of just waiting for the fan sign to end. Sometimes if there's little gaps where one member in front is still signing for someone and the next member is done, you can take that moment. I know fan sites will just yell their name. I don't, me personally, because I'm so loud of a human, I don't really like shouting their name really loudly. So sometimes I might just be heart, and then they'll do a heart back, or I do my famous kai bai bo, rock paper scissors heart. So, but most of the time they will try to get everyone's cameras, because they're professionals at this. At the very end, they will do their thank you, and most of the times they will perform the latest comeback song, but it will just be a dance performance because they're not really mic'd up or in-eared up. So some of them will use a handheld mic, some might not. Depends on the group actually, but you will get to like a little dance performance of the latest song. Or just a little sung performance if it's not a dance song. But a little performance at the end, and then they must go, and you kind of have maybe 30 minutes to get your shit together and leave, because staff will be like, gotta go. If you brought any props, make sure to go pick it up before they throw it out, and that is it. And you will have a signed album to talk about your experiences. So that is kind of the little bits of ins and outs and tips and tricks and a little walkthrough of what happens. If you have any more questions, please do feel free to ask. Yeah, I hope this video was helpful. I've been getting a few DMs on Instagram, so I thought I'd just do a general long ass video explaining everything. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope to see you in my next video. Bye bye. My ring just got caught.